Florida is going to be ending all vaccine mandates, all. And we're not talking just COVID. We're talking every single vaccine mandate that may be currently in the state, such as maybe you're forced to get your kid the measles vaccine before they go to school. All vaccine mandates are to end in Florida. Watch this.
What I'm most excited about is an announcement that we're making now, which is that the Florida Department of Health, in partnership with the governor, is going to be working to end all vaccine mandates in Florida law. All of them. Every last one of them. Every last one of them is wrong and drips with disdain and slavery. Okay? Who am I as a government, or anyone else, or who am I as a man standing here now, to tell you what you should put in your body? Who am I to tell you what your child should put in your body? I don't have that right. Your body is a gift from God. What you put into your body is because of your relationship with your body and your God. I don't have that right. Government does not have that right. They want you to believe they have that right. And unfortunately, they've been successful.
I love Dr. Joseph Ladapo. He is the Florida Surgeon General. I wanted him to be the Surgeon General of the United States, but he didn't get that job. Instead, somebody else did. But he's wonderful. He was recruited out to become the Florida Surgeon General. He was based in Los Angeles during COVID, wrote some really incredible op-eds during COVID for the Wall Street Journal. I would often read them. They were so refreshing. Loved the guy. And then he ended up becoming the Florida Surgeon General. And there he is announcing that Florida will be getting rid of all vaccine mandates. Now, obviously, people are freaking out, right? You've got a lot of liberals, especially saying Florida, once again, they're just insane. Here they are doing what they shouldn't be doing by Florida's just a bunch of conservative, just crazies, libertarian crazies in Florida. And they're going absolutely nuts. But what's interesting is there's actually a lot of places in the world that do not have any vaccine mandates. Now, this is a map that shows in the red, there is at least one vaccination that is mandated for the countries that are in the red. But in the blue, and this is what's interesting, in the blue, these are areas where there are no vaccine mandates of any kind. And you can see here that some of these are Western nations. Quite a bit of Europe has no vaccine. I mean, look at the UK. The UK and Ireland have no vaccine mandates whatsoever. Those absolute insane primitive people. How can the British survive? Their children must be just dying in the streets of all kinds of diseases. That's what people think when we say we're going to get rid of vaccine mandates. Their first instinct is, for one, what you'll hear is, I believe in vaccines. Right? They have to declare it like it's a religion. I believe in vaccines. And then the next thing they say is, vaccines are good. We must be mandating them for the children. But yet when I point out, a lot of areas in Europe, like Scandinavia and the UK, do not do any vaccine mandates of any kind. And their children aren't dropping dead in the streets from measles or or COVID or whatever you think is the thing that must be mandated. They don't really know exactly how to respond to that. But this is a map. So the UK and Ireland have no vaccine mandates of any kind. You can enroll your child in school without giving them the measles vaccine, for example, and you don't even have to make an excuse. You don't have to go get a doctor's note. You don't need to claim religious exemption. You just don't say anything. They might ask, is your kid, I don't even know if they ask, but you do not have to get any vaccines whatsoever in the UK or Ireland. Denmark and Sweden also do not have any vaccine mandates. Finland, Norway, the Netherlands, Portugal, and Spain. There's some exceptions. You've got Austria, Germany, Liechtenstein, Luxembourg, Estonia, Cyprus, and Lithuania have recommended only, except Germany does have one exception, and that is the measles. They do require the measles vaccine. Otherwise, they do not have any other mandates whatsoever. Also recommended is Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Japan, Russia, Malaysia, Switzerland, India, China, Bangladesh, Turkey, Kenya, and Israel. But now this map might include, so there was a period of time when they were mandating COVID. And I believe this map includes those who mandated COVID. But many of them have now retracted those mandates, like Australia definitely mandated the COVID vaccine, New Zealand, Japan, Russia, a lot of these countries did, but they've since not, and they don't require people to get any other vaccine. What's interesting is Iceland. Iceland is the only country that not only does not have any mandates, the government also does not issue recommendations. So they say nothing about vaccines. They leave it completely up to the people. A lot of these other countries, they don't have any mandates, but the government will give recommendations. And then it's up to the people whether or not they want to follow those recommendations. There's no law forcing them into it. But Iceland actually doesn't even mandate, doesn't even recommend. Iceland just says, you know what, you do you. Okay, we're the government. We don't want to be involved in your medical decisions at all. So it's mostly, what's interesting about this is the countries that have no vaccine mandates and recommendations only are actually the high-income Western nations. Why do you think that is? Why do you think high-income Western nations are the ones with no vaccine mandates, and the ones with vaccine mandates are poorer countries with weaker healthcare systems, poorer nations that rely on, and I'll tell you what my suspicion is, the poorer nations rely on aid. They rely on aid from wealthier nations. Which wealthy nation? Probably the United States. They probably rely a lot from the United States, which is what? The United States is bought off by Big Pharma. So you got Big Pharma controlling the U.S. government, which is why we're one of the only wealthy nations that mandates practically every vaccine, whereas a lot of these other nations don't mandate any. And of course we do because our politicians are in the pocket of Big Pharma. And Big Pharma wants the mandates, of course, because they want everybody to have to take their drugs so they make a fortune. And then Big Pharma says to America, and you know what you should do? You should strong arm these poorer, smaller nations into vaccine mandates as well. And yeah, we can't get you to get Europeans to get on board with that, but you can force all of these smaller nations that are reliant on you and your aid. And you could tell them that they must accept vaccine mandates in order for them as a requisite of their aid and good relationship with you. And I believe that is what's happened. I mean, why else would these poorer nations be the only ones going for the vaccines? Now, some people might say, well, because they have weaker health systems, they don't have very good sanitation, so they need the vaccines more than the wealthy nations who have good, clean sanitation and strong healthcare systems. They could take care of people when they catch the measles or whatever it might be, but these poor nations might not. I mean, sure, you could go in that direction and claim that. But the reality is that they would be coerced into it. Why not, instead of giving them vaccines and a bunch of aid, why don't we actually give them clean sewage and water systems to eradicate the diseases? Why aren't we doing it that way instead? And then saying, you know, it's recommended to you to get the vaccine, but you don't have to. Just like in the UK, you don't have to. But a lot of people are freaking out about this. Florida saying no to any vaccine mandate whatsoever. I believe Idaho is on the list. There are several other states that are actually looking into doing something similar, and I think Idaho is one of them. So a lot of these freedom states, ironically, when it comes to my body, my choice, they're not really like that. You know, when we think of pro-choice, we think of abortion rights, reproduction rights, and that is like Idaho, for example. That's where they draw the line. I mean, Idaho is the strictest state in the union when it comes to reproductive rights and abortion rights, but yet one of the freest states in the union when it comes to whether or not you would be able to being forced to inject a vaccine into your body. So it's just kind of an interesting, I understand the logic of it though. I understand the logic of people believing that if you get an abortion, you're actually harming another person's body, not your own body. So it's not about my body, it's about someone else's body. I understand the logic in it. This is interesting. I mean, look, if Florida is going to ban all vaccines, I know a lot of liberals are going crazy thinking that this is just some backward-ass conservative thing. But as I've just shown, plenty of these very liberal European countries, including Iceland, which is one of the most liberal, is actually on board with the same thing. We don't mandate and we don't even recommend. So maybe it's actually more liberal to say my body, my choice. It's maybe more liberal to say I don't want the government having to tell me what I can and cannot do with my body or what I have to inject into my body. Maybe it's more of a liberal thing. But of course, what are we hearing from the liberals? We're hearing that this is some insane, deadly, just absolutely bonkers libertarian idea. How dare those Floridians? It's just once again, Florida man. Thank you for watching this clip from the full Kim Iverson show, which you can catch Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern at KimIversonShow.com. It is free for you to watch. Again, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, KimIversonShow.com. See you there.